you're not taking a caravan or a camper trailer on your road trip, you're going to be camping. And when you're camping, you have to have three essential things. That's good shelter, food and water. In terms of shelter, you need a really good three-season family tent. That covers all weather conditions in Australia, mostly from the tropical north down to the colder south, no matter what time of year. And inside that tent, you'll need some good sleeping mats and good sleeping bags. And I really recommend the air inflatable mats. They pack up nice and small in the back of your vehicle, but when they're blown up, they give you at least 5 to 7 centimetres worth of mattress, which is beautiful and comfy, and good sleeping bags. And a three-season sleeping bag covers all weather conditions. And next is food. My number one pick for food is taking a gas cooker. The reason I suggest this is simply because in national parks, a lot of times there are fire bans in place. As much as we'd all love to cook over an open fire, it's not always possible if this is the case. Whereas you take a gas bottle, gas cooker, you can conjure up pretty much anything you like for breakfast, dinner and tea. One of my favourite pieces of food kit is a fridge freezer. For the simple fact that if you're camping outside of town for more than a few days, an esky with ice just doesn't work. The ice melts and the food goes off. These fridge freezers will keep your food fresh and your drinks cold the entire time you're away. And I can guarantee you, I've never ever had a warm beer from a fridge freezer. And finally, and most importantly, is water. Now, you can go without shelter for a few days, you can even go without food for a few days, but you cannot go without water for more than a day. I thoroughly recommend storing water in separate containers in your vehicle. That way, if you do drive over some corrugations or a pothole, one container breaks, you haven't used up all your water and there's no need to panic. So just remember, it's always important to allow for at least 10 litres of water per person per day.
Now, an important thing to remember when you're planning that trip of a lifetime is that not all caravans are created equal. So before you hit that off-road track, make sure that your rig is built for the job. You'll want to go over your van with a fine-tooth comb, making sure that all exposed components are protected and out of harm's way. Now look at this, I want to show you something. You can see this tap here, this is a good example of off-road design. It's mounted up nice and high behind this checker plate storage box as well as this stone guard here. What does this mean? Well, it means it's not going to be snapped off by any rocks when you're out on the tracks. Another thing to factor into your planning is, do you have the right coupling? Because I tell you what, up in Cape York, your standard 50mm ball coupling, well, it ain't going to cut the mustard. What you want is something like this, something that's going to offer you a good range of articulation. As you can see, it basically moves any which way. And that's what you want when you're exploring some of Australia's most tricky terrain. Now, it's absolutely critical to make sure you're running the correct tyre pressures when you're off-roading. It would be madness to do something like the Gibb River Road without dropping some air out of your tyres. The easiest thing to do is to get yourself something like this, a rapid tyre deflator. So the reason why you drop the air out of your tyres is it allows the tyre to conform around sharp objects, and it's going to give you a more comfortable ride too. My last tip for off-road caravanning, and this one's critical. Now, you can be as prepared as you like, but what happens if something fails and you're in a remote area? Australia doesn't do mobile phone coverage in the bush very well at all. So get yourself a sat phone. Yes, they cost a bit of money, but at the end of the day, it is cheap insurance.
When you talk about essential gear for the great Aussie road trip, there's nothing more essential than a road map. Now, this huge map of Australia gives you the big picture in terms of distances and fuel stops, all essential information for when you're first planning your great adventure. It may seem old-fashioned, but I can guarantee you, you're going to need it. This is a HEMA map. Now, HEMA is an Australian company. They've been mapping this country for more than 20 years now, and really, you can't beat an accurate map in terms of planning your trip. Once you've used the big map to put yourself in the big picture, it's time to gather some more information about your destination you've chosen. Now, these atlas and guidebooks are highly recommended. I love them. In terms of information inside, you've got things like detailed inset maps. They give you a history of the towns you're going to visit and the national parks, some information on whether there's park fees or not, camping areas, fuel stops, anything you can think of in terms of planning a trip. These guidebooks have them inside. There's also flora and fauna guides as well, so they're a great asset for planning. GPS is amazing technology. Where once you only had a map and that was it, now you have this as well, which is more interactive, and it shows you exactly where you are as you're driving, which can be a really good thing to know. It contains hundreds of maps, and you can download a variety of maps, whether topographic, regional overview maps like this one here, or your own maps you've designed yourself on your software at your home and your computer, and put them into the HEMO system, and it will read them, and then you can find your way to wherever you want to go to. It's just a great way of exploring this country.
To read about more great Australian adventures in the current issue of Australian Geographic, and to secure yourself a subscription, log on to agadventures.com.au.
Coming up after the break, how you can save on fuel and keep cool in the car.